So, or we just have a meds or we jam, Or we just have a meds or we jam. Alright, so, what I'll do today? I think so. Anyway, never mind that. This is a note to self. I watch that. So remember what I said like a week ago or so, something like that. Anyway, sometimes when you're making a point, but you forget. Like there's always some, yeah. It coming like when you write lyrics, and there's a part of the song where you say, say I'm gonna turn that little piece of that line there and turn it into the one next song. That's kind of what this is. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, if you're an artist, you can relate, as I say. You know what I mean? It's probably how Nas make a lot of time songs. Yeah, him did do that, Anyway, yeah, that's my favorite rapper. Yeah. Well, not even for going at that. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So I made a point in last week, little ramblings, yeah, right? Made a point. You see the thing about the person like exposing other people and putting out them pictures and all of that. This is an example of it's basically a kamikaze. You understand? It's like they're destroying you to destroy themselves, or destroying themselves to destroy you, whichever way. And I don't think a lot of people realize that when you damage relationships, there's no recovery for that. So it's like when you delete a file, and don't get me wrong, the tech experts can get back that file. Because they say you've only deleted the pointer to the file, not necessarily the file itself. The file still exists. It's just that it will be very difficult for you to find it because the pointer isn't there. But that's technical. You understand? That's a little geeky, but the point is, once you permanently delete something, to the layman, the average person, there's no recovery. The only way you can recover that is if you go to them people that will restore damaged hard drive and them people them people the PC expert them. Yeah. And them people alone can fix that. Now apply that to real life. You cannot damage your connection with somebody. Whether it doesn't matter what capacity, whether it is business partner or you are a product and service supplying your client, when you damage that, it done. There's no restoration, there's no recovery mode, there's no safe mode, there's none of that. There's no recovery for something like that. When you damage that connection, I done it done. And you might think, well, what can that person do for me? You don't know. You don't know. That person might come back and buy the building and sell it from underneath you and tell you to go home and you lose your job. Let me explain how this works. You ever hear a thing called temporal karma? Temporal karma. Or chronological karma, if you want to call it that. But there's a thing, like how we talk about temporal freedom? There's temporal. Yeah, because them, anyway, I'm not talk about them. Temporal karma. Try remember that. Try remember the term temporal karma. They say when the bird is alive, it eats ants. When the bird dies, the ants eat the bird. We could say that again. When the bird is alive, it eats ants. When the bird dies, the ants eat the bird. When the lizard is alive, it eats ants. When the lizard dies, ants eat the lizard. The point what I make is all them people that were your style, whether by exposing them and all of them something there, or whatever it is that you did to them, you never know what the future holds. You never know. They might just turn around after maybe 3 years, come back with enough wealth to say, I've just purchased this building, all of you have to leave right now. Yeah, man. The purchase has been finalized. All of you have to clear out of this building by, like, within a week. Yeah, I'm not even giving you 30 days. You have a week to get out of here. Clear everything out of this by the end of the week. I don't want to see nobody back here after a week. I am remodeling and repurposing this building for an actual business, a profitable one too. Not the foolishness that you guys are doing here. So come out of my place. That can happen. And it has happened. Maybe I can't cite any examples in Jamaica land we love, but it has happened in many places. So we have to be careful with the way how we deal with people. Because you don't know who them is. You don't know who. You don't know is who. And that is why them always say respect you. That's why you always have to try your best for respect anybody anywhere you see them, because you don't know who them is. You don't know. You don't know. You can't afford to just reckless abandon like that. You can't afford for just, you're burning all of these bridges and burning all of these connections. You don't know what these people could do for your business. You're burning the very people that would recommend you to get more clients. You see how that works? You damage your own relationship and rapport with the people that you work with. Imagine if you were the one to make a difference. They would have thought about you different. And then here's what people do now. They do things like this. And they're like, oh, me not care. Because you can't do nothing for me. What you can do for me? Me not need you. Da, 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 da. So if you don't need them, why you deal with them like that? If you don't need them, why you do business with them in the first? You obviously did need them. Anyway, I don't know. I just can't understand why you would feel as though when you do this, like when them say, when you dig a grave, dig two. Because that you do, you know, you mash up them and you mash up yourself. And people do not just do this in business. They do this with every kind of relationship that they have. And then when them do that to you, they expect you to have Alzheimer's. Yeah. They expect you to just forget, say, you did do them this, and you did do them that. Imagine if you become, let's say you become popular. You get popular, and then all of a sudden them same one who did that style you, them reach out to you and say, hey, I was wondering if you'd like to do like a collaborative video so that you can, you know, and then you look on them and say, wait, how this? Are the same people in where they blast me all over social media, and I you know I call me back for come to work with you? You can't afford the rate what me I charge right now. You can't afford that. The rate what me would have charge you, you wouldn't bother want to do the video. You can't do the video. You now can't afford it. Cause your boss them now gonna sign off on that. What I would charge you for just an hour, you can't pay me. Karma is real. Don't feel like say because guess what? The way you talk to people make a difference. You think people just get up and them say, "Oh, me not gonna do this," because there's a cause and effect. When you say certain things to people, remember. That's why people take screenshots. Them take screenshots and them can remember what you did say. Remember what you did voice note to them. Them download them something there. You can't just get up and say anything to people because they're going to remember. They're going to remember the things what you did do. So whether as a business entity or as an individual, you can't afford to be reckless with your words and your treatment of people because people remember. And them say bad news travel like light. You know the speed of light? Speed of light way faster than sound. Why you think you hear thunder after lightning clap? That's how fast light is. And it's after it lick the ground you hear the thunder. You don't hear it before. That is how fast light is. Bad news travel like the speed of light. Yeah. But right and left hand to God, who cares about what little old John Craman say? Who cares? Because you see, I'm not popular, you know. I don't popular. So, who cares if it's me I say it? You know, what I'm saying, don't shoot the messenger. That's why we just have to measure with jam. The reason why I do this is so that people can understand that, yes, I like to ramble. Yes, you know, I'm not always, yeah, I'm not always mentally alright. But I like to reason with people. More than anything, I like to reason with people. Anybody who ever know me and ever talk to me know that is mine. I live for reasoning with people. And we're gonna talk about that next. As I say it, we're gonna talk about that next. Listen to me. Learn the difference between education and intelligence. Learn the difference between that. We're going to talk about that next. But yeah, why I say that is because I know some people and you will see them, whether them are sanitation worker, whether them are security guard or whatever. I'm a reason I'm mates with them people. I'm going to say, you're not just street smart, you're real smart. You know what people do? People think say your intelligence is a degree, a paper where you have in your hand. You walk around. Now I have a master's. What does that mean? Cause funny thing, I just said that a while ago, I walk around in this life as if I don't have one. Oh, I have a master's, but I've never made that my selling point to anybody. I've never done that. I remember talking to somebody, they said, wait, do you have a master's? I'm like, all right. People have to remind me. But anyway, we're at the end of this one. So next time we'll talk about that, yeah? Or we just have a meds, or we jam. When we just have a meds, or we jam. Yeah? When we jam, we jam.